Assembly is intended to be performed by a certified technician with proper tools and a safe work environment. If you don't have adequate knowledge of scooter assembly, maintenance, or repair, seek the services of a qualified technician.
First, you cut the straps with 10 snips so you can freely remove the cardboard.
To disassemble a cage, you will need a number 14 key. We'll use a socket. Impact is a lot faster, but you could use a ratchet or just 2 keys. It doesn't matter. You will need to put the steering wheel on temporarily. And as you can see, you got wires and cables going towards the front of the scooter. Make sure that they don't get cut up over here as you're putting on the steering wheel on. You will need the parts to assemble the rest of the scooter. They're underneath the seat. You got your center stand, nuts, washer and bolts, mirrors, battery cover, which is right there, and the battery that you would need to fill later on. You will need the following bolts, nuts, screws to complete the scooter. We have the front steering, which is right there. This is how the setup looks on that. We also have the 2 bolts that go in the rear rack. That's them too. That's for your center stand. And this is for the front plastic that's on the front of the scooter. To put the rear rack on, you will need a number 12mm socket or a key. This long bolt, which comes in there, goes on there first. You must tighten it about halfway, then proceed with the other 2 and tighten them about halfway as well. After you make it in the holes on all of them, then go around and tighten all of them really good. To put the rear luggage back on there, you will need a number 14 key to do this one. This is how the setup looks like. There are 4 middle holes that are in the luggage. Just stick it right in there and tighten it up from the bottom. To put the steering wheel on, you would need to lift the scooter up. Before you could lift the scooter up, you have an axle bolt, which is at the front of the scooter. You would need to take it out first before lifting the scooter. We use a motorcycle jack like that one to lift up the scooter. Whenever you're lifting it, make sure that you are holding it from both sides, because it could roll off and fall, and you don't want to do that. You will need this bolt to do the front steering. As you can see, there's a washer, special washer with the curve and a crack in it. The crack should be facing up and down, vertical wise. And just put it right in there. As you can see, it's got to be really good in there. Now, whenever you come on this side, you would need to use thread lock. Put thread lock on that side. Then you have a split washer that goes on there first, and then a 14 key, a 14 socket. After tightening up the steering bolt, make sure that all these hoses, brake hoses, and wires are not rubbing up against each other or this front piece. Sometimes we put a strap on here, sometimes you could move them around to where they just easily move and don't get cut up anywhere. Just gotta move your steering wheel and watch how it moves around to properly check it. Before you can put the front tire on, you must pry the disc brakes open. remove that plastic piece out, stick a screwdriver in there, and pry it open slowly. Careful not to damage the disc brakes. This is where your rotor will actually fit in. Now, your hose is very important because that's how you stop. Now over here, you got a little thing that holds up your brake hose. It needs to be fastened like this, because if it's not holding on there by that thing, it'll rub through real quick, and it's really hard to replace that front hose. On this side of the wheel we have a speedometer. Make sure that the cable is tight on there pretty good. Sometimes you could take this, unscrew this and attach the speedometer bracket on here. Sometimes it's easier to do that whenever you're putting the tire on. But what you need to aim for is that you have your teeth in the speedometer round piece. Need to match up with the spaces that are on the tire, as you can see right there. So those teeth, spacers. Put it on there, and as you lift the wheel on, you must make this little hole into that little piece right there. All at the same time, make sure that the disc brake goes right in that hole there, which is pretty hard to do. Sometimes you need two people to do that. On this side you got disc brake. You need to tighten these 3 bolts up because they can't come loose. You have the spacer here that goes right in there. Stick it in there, and as you can see, got to make that in there, which is your speedometer. Match it up, lift it all the way in there, and then put your long bolt through there. After you put the axle bolt through in there, see over here you got the spacer, and this side you got a speedometer. You got a little space right there. We actually made it in. On this side we just put some thread lock on there. Boom, boom. You would need a number 14, little nut to put on there, and a 12 on the other side, and just tighten them up. Before you put the front panel on there, you must check all your electrical stuff. Make sure it's all plugged in. All your little connections are good. Sometimes the connections inside there are not hooked up good. Sometimes you need to pull them together like that. Make sure all the connections are good. Here we have a fuse there. If that one goes out, none of the lights work. None of them. There's a spare one in there you could replace in case that happens. This is your voltage regulator, which converts it from DC to AC. And right there you got your horn. Sounds pretty self-explanatory. If it doesn't work, it's not going to beep. Now over here we have a blinker relay, which makes the noise ding, tick, 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 and it also makes the blinker blink. If the blinker doesn't work and doesn't make the noise, it's this little piece there. Now we're ready to put the front panel back on there. Whenever you're putting the front panel on there, you have the big screw there, which requires a plastic little washer, and you need a Phillips screwdriver. Now it goes on there just like that. You also have 4 other ones that go back in here, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. To put the center stand on, you would need a long rod like that, a washer, and a little thing like this. You stick it in through there just like that. Another side, got a little washer. That. And take some pliers and bend it so it won't come out. Just like this. You put it all the way through there, which is sometimes a little bit hard. And then we'll go to the other side. Another side, put a little washer, the little nail in there, and bend it really good so it won't never come out. To put the spring on, everybody's got their own different ways of doing it. This is my way. Put it on here like this, take a screwdriver, you put it around the top piece, move it up, you gotta be careful, just like that. Then take my foot, keep it there, just like that, and I move it back over here, and you can bend that back just a little bit with pliers. The mirrors are the most easiest thing. You need a number 14 key, put that in there just like that, give it some spins until you get in this thing. Tighten it up, number 14, and adjust your mirror. Okay, to go over the switches, right here we have a kill switch. So right there, that'll kill the motor. You could never start it. It'll turn it over, but you'll never start it. This is your gas here. Your front brakes on your right side. Front brakes, ABS disc front. Now, here you got a start button. You must put the key on the circle position. You will notice that your gas gauge will go up, how much gas you got. That's how you know that your system is electrified. And after that, you must press one of the brakes and mash the button at the same time in order for you to start it. On this side, we have high beam, low beam, blinkers, and the horn, and the back brakes also on that side. Notice that your speedometer is in kilometers on the little numbers, and the big numbers that go up to 80, that's your kilometers there, and miles are right there. And that's your 30 marker right there. Odometer is reading in kilometers, not miles. Kilometers are a little bit smaller than miles. Here you have high beam and your blinkers right there. Now the kill switch is very important for safety. In case your throttle cable gets jammed on you and you cannot stop, and you hit your kill switch right there, and that'll turn off your motor, then you could brake a lot faster. Big safety thing, that's why they put it there. This is your gas tank here. You use the 93 gas, which is your premium, the most expensive. It does about 80 to 85 miles per gallon, so it's not a big problem. Move down here underneath the seat, one screw, and you can get it down in here. You can open up and see your carburetor. It's a Volvo carburetor. Right there is your gas. Whenever you give it gas, hits this little screw here, which is your speed restrictor. Some states require the scooter to be at 30 miles an hour. That's what it should stay at. If it's not, put it at 30 miles an hour. Now, if you're going off-road and you want more speed, you can take the screw out. Over here you have an idle screw. After you start off your scooter, you must adjust your idle. Whenever adjusting it, your back wheel should not spin whenever it's just idling, standing there. When you give it gas, that's when your back wheel should start spinning. That's how you know if you adjust it correctly. When checking your oil, make sure that your oil is in this middle position. That's your high marker, that's your low marker. Keep it about the middle. The scooter must be in perfect level position, and we recommend ton W40. You need to replace your oil first 300 kilometers, and after that, every 1,000. Right here we have a drain. Need a 17 millimeter. There's a spring and a filter that's totally reusable, so you can just clean it out and stick it back in there. Whenever you're filling the battery, you must be careful of this stuff because it's really dangerous. It'll eat through your hands. You must wear gloves whenever filling the battery. You must fill each compartment individually. Each compartment you pull out and fill it. First you fill it to the lower level, then you shake it just a little bit like this to get the bubbles out, and then go all the way up to the upper level, to the second line. You would need these bolts and nuts to go in here like this. Screw them in just like that. You need to route the hose outside in case you overcharge the battery, or if you fall over and the battery decides to leak. Whenever you're installing a scooter battery, you got two positive wires that go here, which are red, and they also have a fuse. There's also a replacement fuse in case that one burns out. Now whenever this fuse goes out, nothing works. No electricity, it will never start. As you can tell, your negative only has one wire, and it's absolutely black. Over here, I have a cap. Notice that I routed the hose out there. Wrap that up like this. Those screws, you just take them out of there. There should be right in there. Take them out and take them back in there. To adjust your back brakes properly, you will see that there's a screw over here. You would need to press your back brakes, and as you can tell, there's a lot of slack before it actually presses on the brakes. So what you would need to do is, most of the time you can just do it by hand, is just twist this clockwise position. The wheel should spin freely by you just moving your hand. Here we have a VIN plate that goes right there to cover your VIN number, and just snaps back into place right in there. Just like that. Now that completes our scooter assembly. We're also working on a DVD, on the maintenance DVD, that would teach you how to change your oil, change your belt, variator, adjust the valves, clean out your carburetor, and look for other little problems, and troubleshoot the scooter, electrical wise and gasoline, motor, the whole thing. Look for it on DVD on eBay.